My guest for the morning, Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency, Emmanuel Tremantingeja is here. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And his pair is lawyer Abraham Amaliba. Thanks for joining me, lawyer.
Roland.
You're going to the court today?
Yes, I'm going to court today. But your introduction is not fair. I have been here for some time now. And instead of introducing me first, you decided to introduce him first. What is the motivation to come in early?
Government power.
If you are not going to be introduced early and first.
I'm sorry. You know, I think psychologically the thing plays in my mind. You know, when your party was in power, I used to introduce you first. And I would say, lawyer, man. But now,
if you introduce,
so I think psychologically it plays on my mind.
Start introducing the person who comes in first. That will motivate us to come early.
Okay, so when the two of you come in the same time, what do I do then?
We'll talk about that.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll see how that goes.
Roland, can you do the introduction again?
Okay, my guest for the morning, lawyer Abraham Amaliba.
Because I came in early.
Because he came in early.
Good.
Thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you.
Well, I think you should add that he's an NDC lawyer and a member of the communications.
Even the legal team. But before we go on to some our main stories we're discussing, apparently the majority accusing NDC minority MPs of frustrating government business after boycotting vetting, 15% increment in transport fares, corruption, fueling, galamsey, etc. We'll talk about that very soon. But apparently the domestic airfares, we were told, are now falling. You should be happy because when you're traveling, you usually use the flight. So
I'm not a frequent user of the flight anyway, but nonetheless, occasionally I take the flight. But one would want to find out to what end. If you have a country where majority of people are poor and do not fly, rather you have majority of the people going by buses, where would you want to have a reduction to as it were, affect the people? And so this 17% reduction is just to satisfy an elite group. And the irony of it, today, is the commencement of new phase. So the ordinary man is called upon to cough more for traveling, while the rich, who does not even need to be subsidized, is being subsidized. So sometimes I find it difficult to understand what kind of economics is this. Is this?
Can you draw your analogy again? You are saying that the domestic airfares, the removal of that tax component, is going to favor an elitist group. People who already can afford.
Who can afford. In fact, the majority of Ghanaians don't fly. They rather go by road. And today, as we speak, is the commencement of a new fare in terms of lorry fares. So you begin to find out where is the priority of this government. Is it in to protect and, as it were, support the ordinary Ghanaian, or is targeting the elite few who can afford anyway? And I'm wondering whether this is real economics or this is some chebi economics that is being done, where some people who need the subsidy most are not given, while those who can afford. Anybody who flies, indeed, there are some people who will take the flight, but before they fly, their vehicles are already ahead of them in wherever they are going to. So that when they get there, they can use the vehicle. These people don't even need that subsidy. They are capable of paying for the flights, the fares. And so once that's the priority of the government, and it is, as it were, protecting and only supporting the elite few, and leave that to the rest of the Ghanaian population that is suffering, and that thinks that this government has not been fair to them, when today is a commencement of 15% of new fares to be introduced.
We hadn't even started talking about, Mr. Tremantingeja, the increment in the fares. And I was only asking about how domestic airfares we're told have fallen. And then Mr. Amaliba decided to bring in the,
politics.
Oh, not politics, but the 15% increment in transport fares, etc. But it's a good news for those who fly. I mean,
it's a mode of transport. I agree that it is not. My sister Yabedu doesn't fly to go to Kumasi. But if you ask the you don't exclude it. The fact that me and him, we can't go to Abrochi doesn't mean that aeroplanes should not fly. I mean, I think it is an argument turned on its head.
His argument is more of a social argument.
People, majority of the people don't use. It is a big part of transportation. So it is okay. This government decided that the current government, when we were campaigning for the election, just thought that some taxes imposed on everyday things was absolutely unnecessary. They were nuisance taxes. 17.5% on domestic airfares. There was a tax on real estate, purchase of real estate. There was a tax on you having your ATM card and withdrawing. And virtually every Ghanaian, we are the percentage of Ghanaians that bank and use ATM cards, all the teachers, all the nurses, all the civil servants, everybody has an ATM card. The former government, the NDC government, imposed a tax on even withdrawing your money with an ATM. Okay. This government thought it was all nuisance. And we decided to take...
Is it the government that that did that, or it's the banks, based on the taxes that government had introduced?
Yeah, I mean, it is the banks were only operationalizing a policy directive of government. So this government, the NDC government under President John Mahama, decided that they will tax. If you have money in the bank and you want to draw it out, they imposed a nuisance tax. So a government of a people that thinks about all of us decided that we will remove those taxes, and one of it was a tax on airline. There is a percentage rise. I want to believe that viewers know where this has come from. It is...
You mean the transport fares?
The transport fares.
The 15%.
If you listen to Mr. Kwachi, he says in the past, cumulatively, today the sins of the fathers is visited upon the children.
I don't get
in the past, a government continued to increase
impose the taxes
and
imports
and increase because
parts.
They couldn't manage the currency. Petrol prices were jumping by the week, or they did it every fortnight. Then, under the NPP government, we have seen prices of petrol receding. But you hear the argument of they call them the Ghana Private Road.
It's the Ghana Private Road.
Ghana Transport Coordinating Council.
The Ghana Road Transport.
The argument of Mr. Andrews Kwesi Kwachi is that it is what happened in the past. It is just accumulated, and they are imposing it now. Of course, I think that there is an arrangement that around this time of the year, I think twice in a year,
they have to do a review.
They will do a review. And this review is because of the sins of the past. So I find
so you're blaming it on the NDC government?
I find it rather...
So the MPP government is blaming it on the past NDC government?
No. My good friend, Lawyer Amalba, is sitting here and saying that a government has come and does not consider the mode of transport that is most used by people. That government has decided to increase the fares. First and foremost, I posit that it is not government. There is an arrangement, and that arrangement is carried out by the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council. I am stating for the records that the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council is saying that in the face of decreasing fuel prices, the reason why they are increasing is because in the past, and I want to emphasize that, in the past, prices had increased and they didn't increase. So it is not because of the current situation. Indeed, All of us that go to the pump, all of us go to the pump, and all of us know that prices are falling at the pump.
You see, when you try to mutilate facts, the facts would stare at you and you cannot. Under this government, just in 3 months, they have increased fuel prices for 3 times. And you sit here to say that it is the sins of the past, attributing it to our regime. When you have forgotten that under the NDC, prices of petroleum products were stable. But when you came, prices went up 3 times. And these same drivers were threatening, some even went ahead to increase prices. They threatened to increase prices. It had to take the GPL2 executives to calm them down. And you want to mutilate the facts and make it look like it is the NDC regime that prices went up. What we are seeing now is as a result of your inability to hold the prices at that level. That's how come they are now increasing it to meet what they lost. You talk about financial services, the levies, what do they call them? The taxes at the banks. Ask them.
The tax on financial services.
The tax on financial services. The Minister of Finance has gone back to Parliament, and you know the kind of, you know the way they behave, the trickery, the deceit. He's gone back to Parliament to indicate that that tax is not on all the services, trying to revise the exemptions.
Why do you think that is?
Why do you think that is? It is in sync with their modus operandi to deceive the general public and then go back through the back door to do what they think is right. You have said that you've taken taxes off from this financial services. It was assumed that once you went to Parliament and you said that, it meant that all those taxes were off. What is your business going back to Parliament again on this same matter and now indicating certain specific taxes that have been taken off? In the minds of the general public, oh, this government has done well. They have removed the taxes from financial services, when indeed they have gone back. That's the nature of governance. This lazy administration is engaging. And I think that it is proper. The media, some of you, are not exposing this government as compared to the previous administration. This thing that they have done, who has heard about it? That they have gone back, when that is a fact. They've gone back to review the taxes.
I know about it.
You know about it.
But
I think that
by review of levies and taxes are normal with.
I'm saying that
with every administration and the finance.
You are not getting the import. The import is that we have come as a government to take off taxes. Hooray! Then a week later, you go back. We're not saying that you shouldn't be reviewing taxes. Ask their favorite Aboso kind people. Have they been able to access the levies, the tax exemption?
Why haven't they?
Or,
why haven't they been able to?
Ask them. In fact, the Aboso kind spare parts dealers are complaining and even taking the government to task, indicating that they have deceived them. I'm now told that they will now have to go to the ECOWAS common trade, what and what.
Because we have a tariff regime within the ECOWAS. No, we have a tariff regime within the ECOWAS.
There's no problem.
That will not compel government to drastically
You see, what I want is that if you are going to deal with a group of people, lay bare all the things.
The problems and then the advantages.
You tell them that, look, we are going to reduce taxes or we are going to exempt you from paying taxes. But it will take this. We are now going to tell them that. Look at the same thing they did to the Western North region. In 6 months, when we come, we'll create a region. You come and say that, oh, we are now going to take it through, what is it?
But during the campaign, didn't you know that even if they say that they're going to create a region, it has to take...
Who didn't know?
No, you are a lawyer.
Me?
Yeah, you're a lawyer. So you should know that it will take some time.
Me? I was not the target of their campaign.
Yeah, true.
It's not about me. I exposed them long since. I said people didn't vote for them because all the things were telling, they were lying. It is the uninitiated Who doesn't know all these things? Free education. They've now come back to say that, oh, it's going to affect first year students, for second and third year students. When parents of those students who are in second and third voted for them because they thought that their awards are going to be deception, complete deception. So look, I have heard Nana Akufo-Addo on an advert say that Ghana, yeye mobo dodo, ye tisikasu, and yeye mobo. I want to ask him today, Ghanaians, are they mobile or they are not mobile? He should answer it. With the increase in prices, with the fuel increment.
Is the general atmosphere not that because as following the announcement of the budget, there seemed to be some positive aura around the economy and the country? We've had the World Bank coming to give assurance to the president that they're really in tune with its policy direction.
Tell me which administration that the World Bank has never praised. Give me one.
All of them.
It is when you leave government, then the World Bank will now tell you your true size. Is that not the modus operandi? So leave World Bank out. World Bank doesn't vote in Ghana.
Okay, so now the transport fares. At the end of the day, we know that the prices of fuel at the pumps are reducing. If they cumulatively happen 2 or 3 times in review, it could also ultimately lead to a further reduction of the 15% by perhaps sometime in the year.
We are talking about now and then. Fuel prices have decreased, as he indicated. We see the pumps coming down. But why this increment? It is because when they came, they had increased, or the system had increased it for 3 times. Now, if you are saying that it will decrease, I'm not a soothsayer. You are asking me to play God. I cannot play God on this pure program. Let it reduce. When it reduces, you call me here and we'll talk. I cannot be, conjecturing what will happen. But now, people today are supposed to cough up 15% of what they have been paying as transport fares. That is the issue today, this morning.
How do we get the ordinary commuter to enjoy a period in which we're being told that ideally we should have a reduction in transport fares when we know ultimately
Roland,
we've had an increase?
I think that sometimes when we sit here, we must clearly understand that there are people who watch us and
are discerning.
And the people know the facts. Okay. The people know the facts. Every Ghanaian knows how fuel prices have gone over since the last increment. This increment by the Ghana Road Transport Council, Coordinating Council, happens 2 times in a year. I believe that every Ghanaian can plot the graph of how prices have gone over the last 6 months. Okay. And let anybody tickle themselves and talk about price increase since January 7, 2017. I believe that anybody who is out there is
but it is true, is it not? That we had increment before the last
I am not saying that there are no increments. So I am saying I am situating my argument in the context of let us look at the price increases over the last 6 months.
Okay. Plot
a graph and see what has happened. Okay. But I'm saying that unfortunately the fathers have done wrong and the children's teeth are set on edge. I think that's what the Bible says. But I believe going forward that at the next review, I have no doubt in my mind that the good people of this country will begin to see the tremendous and enormous benefits of good governance. I don't know what my friend Lawyer Maliba was trying to explain away when he spoke about taxes on the abolition of the taxes. Some very interesting things happens in Parliament, and sometimes I don't understand. We have just taken off taxes on 2 taxes on, I think, public light exploration and street lighting. It used to be like 5%. I think in one instance it was brought to 3%. In another instance it was brought to 2% or something like that. And this takes away 380 million cedis from electricity. The Ghanaian, every person who cumulatively,
but you need the money too.
It takes away.
Government also needs that revenue.
Oh, absolutely. But you see, I believe that this is what makes for a reasonable and a caring government. You must balance your revenue with the reality, with the hardships that the people go through. When we were doing this, I could hear from the opposite side members saying it is small. What is the effect? 380 million will be spared effectively. To put it very clearly, will go back into the pockets of the Ghanaian electricity consumer. You know, if you sit on the opposite side and say it is small, you ask, the Ghanaian is asking, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? Why is it that when somebody is doing it, then you begin to always find fault with it? I am saying that my sister Yabadu, if her electricity bill goes down even by 4 cedis a month, maybe you don't consider 4 cedis as anything, but Yabadu considers 4 cedis as a great deal of money. You understand? I don't even catch the drift of Lawyer Amaliba when he talks about a removal of taxes on the financial services. The taxes was on anything that it was there, it has been removed. So what is it? Now they are beginning to go back to the broken record. There is a media cabal. I heard him saying that, and the media is not attacking this government as it attacked the previous government. What is there to attack? That a government came and thought that we must remove the 17.5% on.
But he just pointed out some things that, for example, within the ECOWAS trade protocols, there was no way. There was no way that if you want to reduce taxes on.
They call it the common external tariffs.
Yes, the CET. I know. Okay. But I'm saying that the Ghanaian people should have been told in that budget that this will take effect this and this time.
But you see, what is a budget? A budget is a declaration of intentions. Well, true. We intend to do this.
And that intention also needs to be clarified. There needs to be clarity of that declaration. Don't you think?
But
is it not a deception to the Aboso-Kai people?
It is not.
As well as
we are saying that we will do it.
With the ordinary people who buy the spare parts for our cars.
The ECOWAS protocol allows us to go back and negotiate for things. So what is it?
For true.
Well, we said that we will do free secondary education. Did we start on the 7th of January? No. There are processes.
True. But if you're starting in September, it should capture those who are in school, not some who are in school.
Roland,
are you going to capture everybody from September?
You see, I tell you.
Are you going to capture every student in secondary school or
Roland,
high school from September?
Roland, yes. The elders have a say that you are getting blind.
I am getting blind.
No, they have a say. I said the elders have a say. To get blind and to get a cataract, which is better? Look, let me tell you a real thing. Yabadu has a son. The son was supposed to go to secondary school, finished, and was supposed to go last September. Because Yabadu knew Nana was coming, Kwesi Bosompem is staying at home. You know, already there's
But that's not a fair analogy. That also means that the child's education has delayed.
But Kwesi Bosompem was start in September.
Waiting for Nanado to become president.
Kwesi Yabadu asked Kwesi
How about Yabedu's child, who is already in school, but will not be enjoying the program that you have promised?
You have 2 children. A government comes and decides that starting from now, anybody who is going in will have free secondary education. Half a loaf is certainly better than nothing.
So you're giving them half a loaf, but that's not what you promised. You promised full loaf.
What did we say? We said that we will have free secondary school. In the details, we are saying that starting from this academic year, look, this argument,
Never starting from this academic year. Why is it that all those who are transgressing to the next academic year are not part?
Well, one would agree.
Hold your argument.
That there will be budgetary constraints.
Can we move?
But who says that? Yabadu, go and see every morning when she goes to pray. She prays and thanks God for the life of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Yabadu is a Muslim.
At the very no.
Okay.
She said she goes to Church of Pentecost.
Okay.
You see, let's look at what this increment will do. Food prices will go up. That's why you people are not talking about, apart from fuel going up.
When you were there and prices were going up, the fuel price
I'm
go
hitting
down.
at him and he's uncomfortable. Just take it easy. Food prices will go up. Already cement prices are up. I'm sure you've been looking at the signboards when you are passing by. Cement price has gone back to 28 cities, almost 30 cities. This is the effect of what we are going to get as a result of this increment.
Because transport fares are the heart of many things.
Exactly. And so when he sits here and wants to belittle the impact of the fuel prices, increment in fares, I think that he's not being honest with the people of Ghana. The Ghanaians are watching him. I think that the arrogance of power is also beginning to creep in. And the people of this country are beginning to see the true colors of those who are governing. You increase fuel prices, you increase fares, and you say that, why? Half a loaf is better than none. What do you mean by that? You promised the people of this country that when they voted the MPP into power, conditions are going to be better. That's why I asked the president. Is he saying that Ghana for Yembre again? Don't we bre now with the increment? Don't we bre? I want the president to answer that. If you increase fares. So I think that people are discerning. We now know who are the true lovers of the ordinary Ghanaian. You say that, why didn't we increase? Why didn't we reduce if we think that the reduction is small? I send the same question back to you. When we were building schools, didn't you say that people don't eat infrastructure? How many schools did you build? Did you ever build a secondary school? Did you ever build a hospital? All your 10 under Kufuor administration. So look, I think that...
There were model schools that were built.
There were no model schools built. They were re-engineered. They were renovated.
I've done documentaries on some of them that were built. For example, if you go to, there was one at Kumasi High. You went there.
Kumasi High.
They built new blocks.
Kumasi High is already in existence. We are not talking about adding on to infrastructure.
Yes, they added on.
That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about going to a forest area, uproot the trees, and put an infrastructure.
Mr. Chamantinge Jacob, the majority in Parliament is accusing the minority of deliberately scuttling government's business after it boycotted the vetting of some deputy ministers. And we're told that the government New Patriotic Party says the decision by the minority was done to frustrate government's ambitious project, which have to be driven by the ministers. I know that you're in Parliament. You know that these boycotts are happening by the minority. What do you make of it? Or you want to make a comment on the previous before?
Oh, yes, certainly.
When he does, I'll reply.
Oh, it is your call. I mean, Amaba, I didn't take you to school. You are entitled to your opinion, entitled to say anything you like to say. But, you know, I don't see, to sit here and say that prices have increased. First and foremost, I think that
are you saying that seeing 15% increment in transport fares ultimately are not going to affect prices of foodstuff from...
Clearly has stated that he thinks that it is unfair, it is unreasonable. It is completely unfair. We think it is unreasonable. In the face of what is happening at the moment, I think that fare increase must be mitigated. Be that as it may. Be that as it may, I am stating that it is because some people didn't do their work well. Today, we are suffering the consequences of bad governance that happened in the past. And let me tell you, the good people of this country, not blind. They understand. Let anybody also say that we have started free secondary education and that the incoming students into this year will...
This is repetitive.
If you say, you go out there and say that when you do this,
let's make progress.
You are deceiving the good people of this country. I'm telling you, the man in the streets, the reasonable man knows that something is happening and that it is an absolute truism that half a loaf is better than
minorities boycotting parliament, and your complaint.
I've decided not to react to it because it's repetitive.
I really and truly don't understand. You see, the work of parliament is determined by what the business committee does. The business committee meets, I think, every Thursday and sets out the work of the coming week. I am certain in my mind that at the last business committee, and indeed, the business committee has representation. It is the majority leader, minority leader, some from the majority and some from the minority, that goes into a meeting and determines the agenda for the week. I want to ask, when the business committee met last week Thursday and drew up the timetable, I want to ask the minority, didn't they know that work had been scheduled until Friday? I mean, so and if what they want to say is that it is not important to do, for Parliament to do its constitutional duty of vetting deputy ministerial appointees, then I am at a complete loss. The imperative is that they can only work if they are vetted. Maybe what they are uncomfortable about is that in the history of the Fourth Republic, never has it happened that a president, within the first 3 months, has his ministers running and deputy ministers about to go. It is record-breaking. His Excellency the President has said that he is a man in a hurry. Maybe they feel uncomfortable about the pace at which he is going. They see, the elders have a saying, they see what is coming, the obvious stares in their face, and they want to slow down. But again, I believe that we will go ahead and vet and approve, and God willing, on Friday we'll go on recess. I believe that His Excellency the President early next week will swear in all the approved ministers, and then he will have a full complement of executive to begin.
But Mr. Maliba, in Parliament, it's not about consensus building. It kind of breaks that kind of synergy and that camaraderie that you need.
You see, never in the history of Ghana have we ever had a whole community nominated us to be ministers.
I don't get you.
110. The whole community. The number is so huge that you want the minority to be part of a shoddy work. The committee is bound to interrogate, to ask questions. I am told that, I'm not in Parliament, I'm told that sometimes the CVs of these nominees will come a night before the morning to vet. Shoddy work. They want us to be part of this shoddy work. We won't be part of it. If due diligence is not done, Ghana risks being embarrassed. Already, we've had our president embarrass us enough during his inaugural speech. That one, the minority did not have a way of stopping it. But where the minority has a way of stopping an embarrassment coming to the nation, they will do it. You know, they vetted Carlos Ahinkra. If the minority were not there to ensure that the right things are done, you know the name he's using was an issue.
Yes.
So you don't want the proper things done because you are in a hurry. You want to hurry to embarrass the country, just as how you hurried and copied people's speeches as your speech and brought embarrassment to this country. The minority want to be diligent. Sometimes you need to call former employees to find out the character, behavior of this person before you. And you say that you have a president who has said he's in a hurry. And so Parliament is a master of its own. And so the president should not be seen dictating to Parliament. That's what he's doing. I'm in a hurry, pass my ministers. And that, for me, flies in the face of separation of powers. The president should not be seen, directing Parliament as to what it should do to its ministers. In the U.S., Trump's ministers, some of them were delayed. Some even made to be withdrawn.
Well, for good reason.
Yes, and
because of their either conservative views or for some other position.
In our case, do you know that the Constitution frowns upon appointing a criminal to become a minister? Dual citizenship, if you have dual citizenship, you can't be a minister. How do we interrogate these matters if you are just going to be re-rolling people to become ministers?
And you're saying it's because they have large numbers.
I told you, a community. The president has appointed a community to be ministers. That's the largest number of ministers designated in this country.
Only 110?
You call that only? Now, in the past, we had 70, 80 to deal with. Don't they also think that the current committee will need more time if you appoint a whole community to be ministers? Don't they also know that? So I think that Ghanaians should be looking out for what the majority is doing in Parliament and ensure that the right is already. We have been condemning the committee for not being scrupulous. We've been condemning the committee, and now if the committee has decided to, the minority has decided to step backwards and look at it again, shouldn't you applaud them?
Mr. Chimantin, someone will say that the majority, of course, you have not a full absolute majority, but you have substantial numbers in there. You seem to be oozing with a lot of arrogance in some way, because you feel you have the numbers.
Oh, respectfully, what is arrogant about? What have we done that displays?
Well, in parliamentary practice, it's supposed to be consensus building, and I believe that has been the practice in the more developed democracies and another democratic dispensation.
Yes.
Why is it that when the minority, which is a key stakeholder in this,
yes,
wants certain things to be done right, it seems that we're just bulldozing?
I respectfully would want you to define what is right in the matter. I mean, you see,
you don't think that the concerns of the minority are important?
I am a member of Parliament.
You don't think the concerns of the minority are important?
It's important.
Okay.
That is what democracy is about.
And so they can boycott, and once you pass,
every person must have their say. But democracy is not about 100%. Democracy is about what the majority wants. Sometimes the majority may just be 51 to 49, but that is the majority. Okay. I am a member of Parliament, and I am very careful about saying things. I laugh when Honorable when lawyer Amaliba talks about somebody is doing shoddy work. First and foremost, what is the shoddy work being done at the appointments committee? That you don't, the Constitution frowns on a criminal being appointed a member of Parliament. Yes, I can state for a fact that before you come before the committee, you must go to the Ghana Police Service for clearance. If there is anything on your file, if there is anything, you will not pass. Number two, that before you come, you must you must clearly indicate
that you
are
a
dual citizen. I mean,
but we've had in the past.
We have had
nominees who come before the House, and
yes.
it's noted. It's noted
that they were dual citizens.
Yes.
And they proceeded.
They stopped. That's where Parliament stopped it.
That is why the investigation is important.
Yeah, and so if you come before and if you have
so if you supply a CV late in the day,
yes.
How do they make the checks the following morning? What is that?
But who says that? So if you come and lie under oath, it is perjury.
So
but
the person will have been passed.
And so, but
the international embarrassment will be upon Ghana. That BBC, Ghana appoints a dual citizen.
Has it happened?
Must it happen?
Has it happened?
Must it happen first? Must it happen?
Roland, are we speculating? Are we speculating?
Stop it.
Are we speculating?
Oh no.
Is this a platform to speculate?
No, we're not.
Oh, come on.
Look.
But is that not what?
When did it
has
happen?
Never happened.
When
we shouldn't be diligent.
Or like when Spiot was not a registered voter. And
nobody. Those are the type of things. Plus Spiot. Don't make it look like you are equalizing.
I am
don't
saying
make it look like you are equalizing.
Has anything
Spiot
happened?
was one. The woman who was Kufuor's legal advisor is another.
Oh, Bright.
She was
Vicky
also
Bright?
Vicky Bright was an issue.
What was the issue? But she was a minister.
She was not a minister. Vicky Bright was not a minister.
She was a deputy minister in the office of the president.
Look at it. I am saying that Vicky Bright had issues concerning her appointment.
So how come she was?
In fact, even your party, your primaries, it was an issue. Do you always forget this or what?
So what is the matter here?
The matter here is that scrupulous, diligent vetting would expose all these things. Why are you railroading people to?
Who has railroad who?
Point made, Mr. Maliba.
Who has railroad who?
Okay.
You know, you sit here and talk about you. When I say this, you say this, and sometimes it is Parliament. You talk about you don't want to be part of, what was the word he used?
Embarrassment, national embarrassment.
Shoddy work. The word he used is shoddy.
Yeah, shoddy work.
You bring 1,000-page document in your period. You bring 1,000-page document, and you expect Parliament to approve a loan in 3 days. And you sit and talk about shoddy work.
So you were complicit.
Come on.
Why didn't you protest?
Who didn't protest?
That's your work as minority.
But you see, you are talking about appointments.
You are complicit.
I think that appointments is certainly not the same as a loan.
Okay. So
you oversaw loans in 3 days, and you sit here and have the nerve to talk about appointments.
So you believe that the current status quo is good to go?
Oh, I think it is good to go.
Okay.
I think it is good to go.
Because once the numbers are right, you say.
I think it's not just about the numbers. I think it is completely wrong for anybody to think that somebody will be appointed minister without some due diligence on the part of government.
So what's the need to have a vetting committee there?
Oh, but it is a constitutional requirement.
Oh, so it's just a rubber stamp. That's your understanding.
It is a constitutional requirement.
That's your understanding. That's why
but I am saying that nobody is railroading anybody. I want to state that His Excellency the President is not flippant. He does his own checks before he puts people up for vetting.
All right. So when he put up Ahinkra, did he check his name well?
What was the thing?
What is A?
Who doesn't
Was there an issue with his name or not?
Carlos. Is it a Carlos?
Doesn't matter. Whatever it is, was there an issue at the vetting committee regarding his name or not?
The Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition.
You see.
The Ghana Anti-Corruption
You see, in this life,
if the president
the Ghana Anti-Corruption
Coalition is
Coalition.
clutching on straw.
What is clutching on straw?
The Ghana
everything.
What is the exposure about this?
Gentlemen,
is Carlos a dual citizen?
We are not talking about only dual citizen.
Is Carlos
all manner of
discrepancies.
Discrepancies.
Okay,
What are you talking
Is
about?
Carlos a dual
It's
citizen?
It's okay.
Is Carlos, does he have a criminal record?
Can we move on?
Since secondary school, this you know.
Let's have Okujeto Ablakwa, I think member of parliament.
The reality is that sometimes if you call him Kingsley Ahinkra, people will not even know whom you are talking about.
So what is
sometimes his real name is Kingsley Ahinkra, but sometimes
so Carlos is Nikki.
It is.
And what was the president communication to Parliament?
All right.
So
now let's watch
or whatever.
Mr. Okujeto Ablakwa, member of parliament for North Tongue, who is also a member of Parliament's Appointments Committee.
attitude of the majority is most appalling and most unfortunate. You do not treat your colleagues this way. We served notice since last Friday. The Honorable Minority Leader was on his feet, told you, and repeated same on Tuesday. We have cooperated up to this point. I mean, the president had time after he nominated his ministers. Remember that we kept calling. The Minority Leader kept asking, when are the list of deputy ministers coming? When are the list of deputy ministers coming? Several weeks we were ignored. Then Parliament is about to go on recess. You do not only bring the list of deputy ministers, you bring an elephant-sized list, 110, which has never happened. These are the implications of these 110 ministers. And now we meet and agree on a schedule, and the schedule is so flagrantly being violated. I mean, the public is being treated with contempt, the minority is being treated with contempt, and you say that we should just accept it. I think that what is happening there can best be described as some kangaroo legal process. It's just a charade, and it doesn't speak well for us. I don't think that this even helps the image. We have cooperated so well so far. We've been working together, and we have been carrying out our oversight mandate in a very scrutinous, diligent, manner.
My final question will be, would your side of the House support the approval of these nominees when it eventually gets to the plenary, most likely on Friday?
We will not. We will not. We will not, because we cannot be seen supporting a process that we were not part of. And we don't want to be part of any potential embarrassment. I have told you that it is likely that later on some information can emerge on some of those nominees. And we don't want that when the history is written one day, it will be said that the minority was part of it. So we are not going to be part of the approval processes at the plenary. We will just not be part of it, because when the embarrassment comes, we don't want it to be said that we didn't caution, we didn't warn, and we did not make our case very forcefully. We want it to be on record that we did not partake, we did not participate in this kangaroo process and this charade. We were simply not part of it, both at the appointments committee level and at the level of the plenary. Let nobody say that we are not committed to President Akufo-Addo forming a government in good time. In any case, we had always been raising this, that why the law? Why did it take the president so long to appoint deputy ministers? At the time we started asking for the list, ministers had been sworn in, a council of state had been sworn in, so there was really no excuse why there should have been this delay.
And Okujoto Ablakwa is a member of parliament for North Tongue, but a member of Parliament's appointments committee, and he put it rightly. It seems that the NDC, you have same phrases you're using, charade, shoddy, and all. Is it on platforms?
No.
Okay.
These are common words.
Okay.
You can also use them.
All right. You know that we'd be having a crusade on finishing a maternity block at the Konfanati Teaching Hospital. Mr. Chimantinge Jako, your colleague Patrick Yabuama on this very show started a crusade that perhaps you MP should contribute your quota. He made a donation of 5,000 Ghana cedis.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
And said at least 1,000 from each MP won't be bad.
Okay. If it gets together,
if it gets formalized,
all of us will make a contribution. But I think it's a national shame, really, that this has been going on in the last 47 years. You ask yourself, where did we get it wrong? I am not one that always seeks to blame people, but if we have to apportion blame, then let's look at the parties or the governments that have been in government and apportion the blame appropriately in the last is it 30 something years? Yes. I think it happened out of this
nearly 4 decades.
Let's apportion the blame. I think it is a shame. What is important is that when His Excellency the President visited Kumasi, I saw some Facebook post of what he wrote in the visitor's book, that he will do something about it. I clearly remember, and in the past, I had seen things, as usual with the NDC government. We have secured $240 million to finish this. One would ask, what happened to it?
Did we secure it? Did you go through Parliament?
Well,
it didn't come to
what happened to it? But it is for me, I think that this matter goes beyond the politics. We must find a way to resolve it. Look, I think we must not pay lip service to health issues. I get worried, and I am intending to ask, and unfortunately we are rising on Friday. But
tomorrow.
I will
or next
Thursday, no, latest by Friday.
Today's Thursday.
Oh, tomorrow.
Okay.
When we come back, I will want to ask questions about the status of the Ridge Hospital and the University of Ghana Medical Center. They are almost becoming white elephants.
Your government should continue.
Oh, we will. Certainly we will.
So
we will. These are commission projects, but it is not being used. And there must be reason. We certainly will find out.
I'm sure it's first-phase commission.
We must show respect to the people. We must take the people seriously. I am happy that His Excellency the President has said that he will do something about it.
A minute for you, sir.
I think we pay our taxes. Let the government fit it.
All right. Yeah. Abraham Amaliba, he's a legal practitioner, member of the NDC as well, and Emmanuel Chamantingeja is a member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon constituency. Thanks for joining me, the two of you.
Thank you.